or not.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 237. It is a lovely Sunday morning here in Kansas City as we prepare for the Chiefs to be in the Super Bowl tonight. Dan, the seven himself, rocking the Mahomes, McKinnon. I can't see the rest of it.
It's Juju, Tony, Pacheco, Kelsey. Let's go. This guy right here, this Pacheco guy.
Yeah.
Best. He's the best. Hard-nosed running back, motor like crazy, always keeps pumping those
He's
legs.
a rookie, right?
Yeah, every time he gets up and runs like 5 more yards. Dude's a beast.
That's awesome.
I got a jersey coming. So
okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then there's Mr. Tie Guy Travis from my homeland, San Francisco, who basically shit the bed last week. But, you know, the Chiefs are going to try to do them a favor this week anyway, or 2 weeks ago. But the Chiefs are going to try and get some revenge for him today. How you doing, brother?
I wish you luck. It was an unfortunate game of ball.
The ball game did not go as planned for
our way.
For your neighbors.
They scored points on us, and we didn't score enough points on them, I think is what happened.
I think that's how it works. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Welcome to the NFL podcast, your weekly live show covering expert analysis.
After this, I'm going to be on ESPN too, so you can look for me there.
The Ocho, more like it.
Yeah.
What's going on, everyone? Good to see everyone this morning or this afternoon. If you're over in Europe, you're like, what the hell are these guys talking about already? We just came out of the gate. But should be a good day. I am looking forward to the game tonight. I don't usually watch, but obviously Dan and I being in Kansas City, it's actually a law here. It is required that you support the Chiefs. So we're going to be doing that later today. But for right now, we're going to be talking about games, and we're going to be talking about what seems to be one of the biggest games in a long time in Hogwarts Legacy. We're going to be talking about Nintendo's Direct that we finally got, and a few other things, of course. First, I want to give a shout out to Ian Runkle, who joined us last week. Very fun show. A lot of new faces checking out the show, giving us feedback, leaving us comments, tweeting at us. So that was really cool to see. Great community, as always, as you would expect with Ian and Hogue and that crew. So just thank you. And if you're here hanging out with us or you're checking out the show for a second week or found us for the first time, welcome. So that was cool. Also want to shout out Mr. Hogue himself. I know that we're going to be talking about Hogwarts, of course, but the Hogue household was looking forward to that game a lot. I know with their kids, and they seem to be truly enjoying it and have shared some pictures and stuff with us. That looks like a really good time that Mrs. Hogue, co-counsel herself, had set up for the fam. So love to hear that Hogue is obviously home, but getting to enjoy some time with the family and just kind of sharing that experience. So kind of good news all around, really, guys.
That's right, man. That sounds good. I haven't seen these pictures. I have to check them out. I must have missed them. So
yeah, she co-counsel said she said she even set up floating candles.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't seen the photo? It's pretty crazy. Yeah,
pretty cool.
They are apparently awesome. Potter fans in the Hogue household, which I did not know.
We are here too. I mean, my wife is.
You're not that much of fans.
No, maybe not that much. But she will not watch video games. She hates them. She doesn't like them. Hates, strong word. She dislikes them strongly, but she loves Harry Potter. So she's up there with me watching the game, watching as I play, like yelling, like Avada Kedavra, that bitch, and stuff like that. She's just like yelling. I'm like, this is fantastic. I need more of this. So.
That's cool.
That's me. That's our house. Probably not as wholesome as Hope's house. So
no, she had. Go ahead, Travis.
I was just gonna say I kind of don't blame her for hating games based on what you play. So I just feel bad for her.
Yeah.
She just thinks all games are Hitman 3. You know what I mean? She's like, I don't get this. Or all games this. Yeah.
No, either that or it's like, hey, haven't you played this game like 5 times already? I'm like, yeah. Why are you still playing it? The girl with the red hair? Yeah.
It's because they expect me to, okay, on Bitcast. They want me to play more of this game.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Yeah, it sounded cool. So I mean, with that, I don't think, like we said, we were just joking about before the show, there wasn't a ton of kind of big news this week. Hogwarts pretty much took over. So we can finally talk more about it. I know that obviously, you know, if you're in the gaming community and you know some of the dialogue around this game, you know, that takes a backseat here. I think that Travis's review was one of the kind of only kind of major reviews out at the launch of the game, because codes came in super late and a lot of creators, including Season Gaming and including a lot of the kind of our peers in the industry or like YouTube channel content creators, etc., didn't get the code until just before the deluxe edition launch, like early this week. So it's a big game. I'm still playing through it. I am reviewing it, but you know, I'm not going to review it until I finish it. So it's not something you can play through in a day for sure. But Travis, I know that I know that you went, as you referred to it, kind of goblin mode and just kind of played like 30 hours in a couple days and really kind of got through the game. But tell us about your review, man.
Yeah, it was good. I got the code 4 days before embargo on Monday at 3 a.m. And that was when the embargo lifted. And I went goblin mode immediately. I said, cancel all my meetings to a presumable secretary nearby. Hold all my calls. And then I played the game for 32 hours out of the 36 that they gave since they gave it to me. And then I wrote my review immediately following it. That way we could get the video editing and script and that stuff and VO and all that stuff you need to do for video review over the weekend. And I did it just because I really insist on hitting embargo. This was not something IGN expected of me. In fact, they kind of were like, please stop. But I didn't.
Please stop. You're going to kill yourself.
They were like, don't do it. But I kept thinking to myself, how cool would it be if one of the biggest games this year, you know, our outlet was the only one to actually have a review on Monday. And that is exactly how that went down.
I mean, you guys are a small outlet. You're trying to make a name for yourself.
Very small, trying to blow it out there. No, it was just more for me. I mean, I love the crunch. I love, you know, trying to get things done quickly. And I played a lot of that game, man, 32 hours. And then after I wrote my review, I went back and played more just so that I made sure I didn't miss anything, because I had to skip a bunch of side quests and optional content, obviously. So I went back and played more and was working with the guides team. We have like a pretty aggressive guides push on this because people are asking for guides on the game, obviously. Yeah, it was a thrill. It was super fun, and it helped that the game happened to be good. I gave it my third 9 out of 10 at the site, which is a pretty big deal for me, but I stand by it. It's a great game. Yeah, I mean, obviously, people have been very passionate. I've gotten several hundred you know, enthusiastic DMs on Twitter and you know, stuff
new
like that.
fans almost.
Well, fans, but most of them blocked me right after they sent their message. So
are you at least like sending them towards our way, you know, that way we can get those numbers?
No, my policy is not to engage. Look, it has never bothered me. People messaging me has never bothered me about my review, and I just don't care. I've never cared. I've actually tried to get myself to care, and I can't. I just don't care about. I don't care about what other people think about me. I just don't. It's my superpower. And you know, you do comedy for a decade professionally, and you get used to people not liking you, and you grow thick skin. And I have super thick skin. I'm kind of sociopathic about it. And I've just never cared. But that said, you know, people have a right to feel strongly about this game, and I actually don't blame them. There are some really important social, you know, stuff attached to this. And I get why people would be impassioned about it. So I don't blame people for having opinions about it. My job as a reviewer is to review the game. It's a qualitative assessment of the game standing on its own merit. And as a game, it's great. And I wrote that in my box out, which I saw some people online, suggesting that IGN made me write that, which is just not true. Like everything, I wrote it, and then editors kind of helped me work on the language and all that. But,
yeah. I shouldn't show the DM you sent me that said you wanted to give it a 4, but IGN made you give it a 9.
Yeah,
right?
but they made me give it a 9 because the check cleared. Yeah, I shouldn't show that. Yeah, no, I gave the game a 9 because a reviewer's job is to assess the quality of the game, and the game is quite good. The box out basically said whether it's moral to play it is a completely different question that obviously people are free to ask and answer on their own. That's not my job as a reviewer, and that's just how it goes, right? That's the gig, for better or for worse. And you can see that I'm consistent in that, because when I've reviewed games like Choo Choo Charles, which have also gotten me a whole bunch of DMs and people hating on me, those games, it's so funny because a lot of the people who are right now arguing, you shouldn't talk about issues that have nothing to do with the game when you're reviewing it, which I agree with. But a lot of those same people were saying, wow, Travis, how could you give Choo Choo Charles a 4 out of 10? It was made by one person, which is the exact same thing, right? It's a very different issue, but it's people saying, oh, well, you should have taken into account things that have nothing to do with
it's the converse.
Game.
Yeah.
It's the exact same logical kind of fallacy there. And so I'm just doing the thing I've always done, which is playing games and giving my honest opinion on its strengths and weaknesses and how I feel about it. The other thing that happened was some people thought my score was high given all my complaints. I do have complaints about that game. And if you look at the other 9s I've given, like Grounded, I also had complaints with, plenty of them in the review. The difference is those things that I complained about didn't really bother me too much, obviously, because I gave it a 9. It's not like I, had all these complaints and then I gave it a 9 anyway, just to spite anyone. That game is really good, even with the stuff it does poorly. Its performance isn't that great, especially on PC. I hear it's pretty bad. I did not review it on PC. I reviewed it on PS5, where it's better optimized. The story is kind of whatever, but also it's a Harry Potter game, so I would argue that all of Harry Potter lore is kind of actively bad. I did take that into account. And it's got other weaknesses. Enemy variety is one of them that I harped on a little bit. But none of that stuff is horrible. It doesn't change the game and make it like a noticeably worse game, right? It's stuff that, I wish were better, and it's sort of, notes for a sequel, right? If you do a sequel, you should fix these things. But yeah, I stand by the review. It's a great game, and it's great to see people playing it and enjoying it and agreeing. And then people who aren't playing it for whatever reason, I support you too. You do you. There's lots of reasons to not play the game. You could just not like Harry Potter. Lots of people don't like Harry Potter.
I've seen other people say that, and it's like, just because a game is popular and is extremely kind of we'll talk about the numbers in a second, but a ton of people playing it and watching it and engaging with it, it's okay not to. Like, there's no one saying you have to. Like, there's plenty of games like that. That's going to be me. That's going to be me when Tears of the Kingdom comes out. It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to sell millions and millions of copies. I'm going to be like, okay, enjoy it. It's not my thing. That's fine.
Live, man.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, we've talked a lot in DM and other stuff, because it's been kind of a crazy week relating to that and all the coverage about it. But no, it was a very good review, man. Seriously. And the more that I play the game now, I'm about 20 hours into it. The more that I play, the more that I'm just agreeing with your review. I think mine's going to line up pretty similar, which is not surprising. We've done that a few times.
Yeah.
But it is. I agree with you that there's things that can do better. Sure, there's things that could be more well optimized, etc. But there's so many little things about it that are just good, and surprisingly good in some areas. I think Hogue even DM'd us because obviously, like we said at the start of the show, him and Fam are playing it. And he said earlier today, he said, this is directly from Hogue. He said, Hogwarts to me is what we all knew licensed games could, quote, be when we were kids. It puts you in the world completely. It doesn't simply copy a movie that does it better. And I think that's well said, as Hogue tends to be a lot of times, even though his opinions can be all over the place, as we joke here. But he says that well, because that's how I feel. I'm not even a Harry Potter fan. I was old. I was above the age when this was kind of the thing, you know, in culture. And I didn't, my kids came just slightly after, or kind of, you know, anyway, missed the boat kind of for the whole Harry Potter craze per se. But I think it does a really good job of just making you feel like you're in this other world. And it's got this kind of whimsical, magical feel to it. That's just fun to explore. It's fun to walk around Hogwarts. It feels full of life. There's students doing all kinds of crazy stuff everywhere. And the whole class structure, how it can go from like what tries to be serious, to your point, the story's kind of whatever, but tries to be serious, but then suddenly you're back in a class and you get the whimsical music and goofy stuff happening, and it's just fun. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just a fun game.
Something I was reflecting on after I wrote the review was, and I kind of wish I would have put this in the review. I've never played a game that feels like Hogwarts Legacy before. Like ever. It's such a weird game. The combat is obviously like there's nothing like that out there, where it's just you like slinging spells and deflection and kind of doing like an interpretive dance with a wand in your hand. You know, it's kind of the how it feels sometimes. Combined with like the classroom fantasy of like a Persona game and some of the other stuff. It's just everything about that game is so weird and unique. And even if you don't like Harry Potter, which, you know, I'm a fan of Harry Potter. I read all the books when I was a kid. I've seen all the movies. I saw that godforsaken Cursed Child stage play. You know, Harry Potter isn't like my thing. I'm not like obsessed with it. In fact, I have a close friend I've known for, you know, like 20 years. He hit me up after he read my review and he said, dude, I've literally never heard you say anything good about Harry Potter, because all he hears me say is complain about its world building and all the other stuff. And so he's like, this game must really be good if you gave it a 9. You know, I'm not like a Harry Potter super fan, but I do like it. I've always liked it.
So let's talk about this reception. So right now, critical reception, I think it's in the mid 8s, high 8s, something like that, pretty close to your review. And more reviews will be coming out. Like we said, there's still like ours and many others are coming. Let's talk about how nuts the numbers are around this game right now, and why I said this is kind of the first blockbuster of the year, which seems to be a year where we're going to have several of these types of releases. But yesterday, it broke 800,000 concurrent players on Steam alone, which is the highest for a single player game of all time. In fact, it had more players playing it at one point than Apex and Call of Duty, which, you know, are basically tops every week for the most part, or top 3 every week. It passed 1.3 million viewers on Twitch, which again is far and away the most watched single player game of all time. On Twitch, it broke that record as well. In fact, they showed it compared to, because as we all know, last year Elden Ring took over the world, you know, for a couple months, and Elden Ring's peak on Twitch was something like 700,000 or 800,000, and this has crossed 1.3 million. And let's keep in mind, this game technically only came out on Friday, so a lot of these numbers were kind of escalating as the weekend went on, because a lot of this came from the deluxe edition. And most of the kind of sales analysts, the people that are looking at where this is trending sales-wise, think it may break 10 million copies in the launch window alone, and could easily break 20 million this year, which would make it kind of like Elden Ring last year. It would immediately put it in the conversation of one of the best-selling games of all time, which is just bonkers. So I think that, you know, when you look at these numbers and you look at the reception and kind of how it's taken over the conversation in a lot of ways, it's very clear to me, guys, that, you know, it's kind of a weird thing. It's, you know, I understand the negative commentary from JK and the tarnished, you know, that obviously we don't agree with here. And, you know, I think anyone watching this community, and my camera froze again, didn't it? Anyone watching the, you know, in the seasoned gaming community should know that, right? You know what we stand for and how inclusive we are here. But it's very clear that regardless of that conversation, right, Harry Potter and kind of the broader wizarding world, if you will, it's part. Now I'm all washed out. What is going on? It is part of just culture, right? It's part of the modern culture nowadays, and it's you can't get away from it. And I think that there's so many people at this point, 20, 25 years later, that have grown up with this, and either it's memories from childhood or it's a number of other things for their family or other things. And it just goes to show that you take this IP that is so big globally and you actually make a very good game with it, where you kind of allow players to experience that world from their own perspective. And man, it has crushed all expectations. I know we featured this game several months ago on Bitcast. We were one of the few shows I saw kind of actively talking about it and saying, if this game does X, Y, and Z, and it lets you be your own wizard, and it has RPG elements, and it recreates Hogwarts well, this could be huge. And well, I think that's exactly what we've seen. It's kind of mind blowing, really.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's just everything. Like, just the game itself is just different. I think the reception is. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that. I mean, it's there's so many things that kind of had to hit correctly, and they kind of nailed it, man. I've been playing it nonstop. I probably got 30 hours in it already, and I'm not even halfway through. You know, I've just been running around doing whatever, you know, and it makes it really accessible to people too. It's not, you know, it's really balanced. Is kind of the best thing for me. It's got a lot of stuff to do, but it doesn't like force it upon you, and it makes it very convenient at the same time. It's like, oh, I gotta go do this mission. Oh, there's a Merlin trial. I'm just gonna knock that out real quick, and I just do it. You know,
yeah,
right? Yeah, it's just like I'm like 10 feet away from starting this mission. I'm just like, 1 sec, and then I'll just do my thing, and it's kind of everything. The combat's really fun. I've had a ton of fun playing that. It's challenging, but I think it's pretty fair. And then you get to like the room of requirement, and that whole thing. I thought I was gonna be like,
you could spend so much time on that.
So much time there. Like it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Like I thought.
Have you gotten there yet, Ains? To the room of requirement?
Yeah. The game that's what's, not to interrupt you, Dan, but that's what's weird about the game. It just keeps layering in new things, and usually when big games do that, it doesn't work well. You know what I mean? Like the things are poorly implemented, but everything in this seems to be well implemented, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Did you get the expansion to the room of requirement where it opens up the beast area? Yeah. That is the part where I just went, okay, this game's way too much. Like, what the hell? The fact that they put that in there, like, so my fiance started playing the game. She doesn't know that's in the game yet because she intentionally wasn't in the room for most of my review because she didn't want it spoiled for her, and she has no idea that's in there. And I know when she finds out, that's going to be all she does for so long. That's going to be all she does. So I'm very excited to see her get there.
Yeah, but it's not like so big, right? Like that it feels like it's like certain things are like unattainable. Like, and there's a purpose behind it too, right? Like there's a reason why that stuff is in the game, and they did a great job. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. It's just kind of really starting to explore the room of requirement a little bit more. At first I thought, well, this is going to be just another add-on. It's not. I mean, there's so much there that helps you progress, and I have my issues. Technically it's not the best game I've ever played. It's got some definitely, like Travis said, some performance issues, and there's a few other things, but I mean, really, I just don't care because I'm having so much fun, and that's what this hobby is about. And I think a lot of people miss that a lot. We get down and we boil down the technical aspects of games. We look at the business side of things a lot, but in the end, if a game is fun, a lot of other stuff just kind of doesn't matter, and you just enjoy your time with it. And I haven't actually enjoyed my time with a game for like this much for a long time, and that includes Hitman 3.
Wow.
It's kind of so those
are high marks. And I imagine you're not a Potter guy too, right? Like you just like it for the game. Are you a Potter guy? You said
I'm a huge Potter guy. Yeah. I mean,
you are. Okay.
Yeah. Love it.
Gotcha.
Love the movie series, read the books a long time ago.
It's making me want to, I've only watched the movies once each, just because they were like a cultural thing, but it's making me want to go back and watch them again.
No, it's great. I mean, and And if we, yeah, I mean, the societal issues that, you know, I mean, I understand why everybody's where they are, and, you know, like you said, we know where we stand. But it's a shame that, you know, an otherwise, you know, really amazing release, that it's kind of tarnished a little bit by, you know, this side of things, I guess. And it sucks, because it's really kind of a weird way to go around, you know, trying to fix a problem, you know, by posting spoilers in a random thread saying, I like Harry Potter game, or I like the Harry Potter game, it's really fun. And then next thing you know, there's 15 comments on this person does this, and there's all the spoilers for the end of the game. It's like, gosh dang it, man, you know, there's better ways to do this. And it's really kind of sad, actually, to a certain extent. But all I know is that, you know, I'm enjoying it. I don't really give two craps about how everybody else is enjoying it, if they are or not. Because I'm kind of the same way as Travis. I just don't care, you know. But I haven't cared for a long time, and I hate most people. So, you know, that's generally my outlook on life. So.
By the way, I can't believe that during this entire Harry Potter conversation, we've been using the wrong frame. I apologize to everyone about that. We'll fix this up.
I will say that frame is more Potterverse appropriate.
Yeah, classy. Yeah,
that's true.
Let's go like old, regal.
Yeah, you know, like where all the like the old wizards that are in the, you know, in the paintings around, you know, Hogwarts.
I will say this about Hogue. I love the guy, but he looks like he treats house elves poorly. Yeah. He looks like he has a really abusive relationship with his house elves, doesn't
he? Yeah. Oh boy. I think it's worth calling out too that you know, one, this game was delayed extensively. It's been in development a long time, and so I think we should celebrate the fact that obviously they took the time they needed to get this game right. As it came out. And secondly, you know, Portkey Games, the kind of the core developer with Avalanche on this, they hadn't made anything big. And so I think one of the most surprising aspects for me about this is that this is a big game, right? It's a big open world game. There's a lot of mechanics. There's a lot of menus. There's a lot of things to it. And I'm just surprised at how well implemented a lot of things are. Like the map's not great on the 3D side, but it allows you to quickly fast travel and get around. The UI is very intuitive. The loot's cool. You can, you know, use any appearance you want right out of the gate. It's not like something they have to add later. They've got the broom flying is like, you know, it's instant. You can just get up and take off, and it makes traversal really easy. The spell casting's fun. Like there's a lot of intricacies to that type of development in a big 3D game that you see a lot of companies, even big development companies, stumble with. And somehow they've nailed most of this. It's really surprising to me, but hey, bravo, job well done.
Really, like the overthinking part. Like there's several places where you go and do, say, like a side quest or a like the points of magic or whatever, and you can climb up all these things and get to these certain areas, or you can just bring your broom out and zip up there. They left like a lot of developers will be like, no, you can't get to there with your broom because that would be too easy. You have to jump and do all these puzzle things. And they're like, no, you can do that. Just jump up, you know, and get on your broom and zip right up to the top of this tower or whatever. Like that's the kind of stuff I'm just like, thank you so much. Like I would love to see what these guys can do now with like the Star Wars IP and like a big budget, right? Like it just, I mean, they've done such a good job that it just blows my mind that it's this good. I didn't think it was going to be this good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that studio Portkey Games was built specifically for the Harry Potter franchise. So I think they're going to just be building Harry Potter stuff for hell long. So yeah.
I'm okay with that.
It's great. And by the way, co-counsel in the chat, Mrs. Hoglaw herself, saying, I found the review very helpful for me personally. Bravo, Travis. Good stuff.
Hey, that's a job well done. That's all I need to hear. Thank you guys.
It's good stuff. Good to see you, co-counsel. Hope everyone's doing well and enjoying the game. Also, shout out to Midnight Jury for gifting a channel membership. Thank you. Appreciate you. And we also have a super sticker from What's Crack-a-Lackin' for $1.99 super chicken. What the hell just entered my head? Super sticker. It's a lemon doing something in our super sticker, so appreciate you no matter what. Thank you.
Lemon being excited.
Yeah, being excited. So there you go. Tal says, what houses did everyone choose? So did you guys let the Sorting Hat choose you, or did you pick your own house?
Let him choose me.
Me too.
I went one step further and went to the website and
the WB
filled out
thing.
Pottermore?
Yeah, the Pottermore,
Okay.
yeah, the Wizarding World or whatever, and filled out all the questionnaire, did all the questions, and then I got my 13 3/4 inch wand, and my Patronus. I did the whole nine.
So what house did you get?
Slytherin, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Travis?
no doubt.
Yeah, I also got Slytherin, and I think I had taken the Pottermore quiz before, and when you link your account to the game, it will give you that house.
Yep.
So
They gave me my wand.
Yeah, if you take the official quiz and the wand, and make your wand, it'll load all that into the game when you play it. So I didn't do that though. Because I don't think the servers were live when I was reviewing it, where you couldn't like connect to your account or whatever. I took the quiz and immediately they were like Slytherin, because like, come on, ambition, not caring about authority or classes, Slytherin.
Yeah, I don't think anyone watching is surprised that my two co-hosts here both got Slytherin. I think that's what I deal with on a weekly basis. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
You said you got Ravenclaw, which I got
Ravenclaw
as well. I think Hogue is also Ravenclaw.
Again, I think this all makes sense. I think, yeah, it all adds up. I am disappointed. I see Mr. Badbit in the chat from the Trophy Room said he got Ravenclaw, so now I'm a little disappointed. I feel that
Ravenclaw's a house of intelligent bootlickers. That's what I described them. Yeah.
Oh man, too funny.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, you guys are definitely the hall monitor school, so enjoy that.
Come on now. Come on now.
You are. I'm not lying. All of you guys are prefects. You know those guards that you have to sneak by in Hogwarts halls? Ravenclaw.
No.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
No, Ravenclaw all the way. By the way, co-counsel says so far we have Slytherin and a Hufflepuff in their house. So nice. There you go. Good. Oh man. So anyway, yeah, great game. My review's coming soon. Not that you need it. We've kind of covered everything here. It is, if you haven't checked it out, if you're kind of on the fence, I would suggest, if you like kind of just big open world games that are well designed and fun to play, which I think most people do, which is probably why it's so popular. This is a good one. Definitely better than I think many people expected, and we're seeing the results of that, right? So
yep, better than I expected, by the way. I think we talked about this on the show, but I like those trailers were not doing it for me. Specifically the combat, I was like, I don't know, but it surprised me, man. It's much better than I thought it was, and it gets better the longer you play it, because it kind of starts and you're like, all right, this is pretty basic, but then they add so many layers and powers and enemies, it gets really good. Also, I've been playing on hard, which I mean that it's actually a difficult game on hard difficulty, like it really is. I don't know.
I can see that.
Like the combat trials and stuff, it gets tough. So
those are tough on normal.
Yeah, they're tough, dude. On hard, I'm getting my butt kicked.
Man,
what was I going to say? I was going to make a joke that with a game like this, as it's a big game and it layers on more things after hours and hours, it's almost like Travis, we've talked about. It's almost like you need to play the whole game before developing an opinion on it. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. What was I going to say? So it's funny you mentioned Ubisoft, or someone in chat mentioned Ubisoft, but I'm thinking now, Ubisoft is making the Avatar game, and they're making a Star Wars game, and all I want to say to them is, for God's sakes, look at Hogwarts Legacy and take some notes.
Scale it back.
Yeah, seriously, like they've shown how to do a big open world licensed game while staying seemingly true. Not that I'm a Harry Potter expert, but seemingly true to the license while making it not cumbersome, which Ubisoft tends to do. So I hope they're paying attention.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, I just want to put this out there. I know both of the people in this chat are going to hate me for saying it, and Ains's framed photo is also going to hate me, and probably half the commenters. But I hate to say this, but this is a perfect franchise for a live service game. Wait for me. Wait for it. Wait. Imagine a game where they have annualized content where every year your character gets a year older and you do the next year of Hogwarts. You know what I mean? Where you start as a first year and it's an 8-year live service game. And by the end, you go through your final year of I'm just saying, dude, it would be crazy. And you'd get to see your character go from like a 10-year-old to an 18-year-old. That's all I'm saying. It'd be great. They're not going to do it, obviously.
Tal's already getting you in the chat.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It would be really good if they could pull it off. They already have the bones of a good game. They would just have to build like a live service team and kind of, obviously you start as a 5th year in this game, so my idea doesn't make sense for this specific game. But I'm just saying, now that we know a Potter game could be good, going through all of the years of being in Hogwarts.
No, the vision sounds good. The actual implementation of it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, who knows who would be able to pull that off. Some people are mad in the chat. Some people think it sounds good, as usual, as we demonstrated with our live service conversation.
Everybody's mad at the suggestion until it works, right? And if that worked, if it was a good game, if it was up to the quality of Hogwarts Legacy, except for it took place over 8 years, people would lose their minds. And that's kind of the one thing that disappointed me about this game is like you play in the 5th year and you kind of just get like a snapshot of being in it. You don't get to live the full fantasy of going through all the years, which obviously is an insane request. They were never going to get that in the game.
Yeah.
But that's the fantasy. I think that's what people want. I'm not even a Potter, diehard, and I would want that. That sounds amazing. That's what I'm saying.
I'll reach out to BioWare. We'll get them on it.
Oh boy. Yeah. They have their hands full with making Dreadwolf look terrible. So.
Oof. We told Mark that we're going to have him back on when we get kind of official gameplay release date, when we're close to Dreadwolf, because he assured us that he was extremely confident that game was going to be incredible. So we shall see.
Dreadwolf?
Yeah, don't you remember the conversation with Mark Dara? He said I asked him what his confidence level was in BioWare getting back to their roots, per se, with Dreadwolf and making a brilliant single-player RPG, and he said he's extremely confident. So we'll see.
He works for EA though, right?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
He used to. Yeah.
All right. Well, to be fair, the footage that got leaked, it was like 20 minutes of gameplay if you didn't see it, was pre-alpha, and it was also from years ago that I think a lot of that got scrapped, but it definitely didn't inspire confidence. It looked like they were trying to follow in the footsteps of like God of War. I think it was like God of War 2018 was kind of what they modeled the combat on, but it just looked like a bad version of that. So I don't know. We'll see what that game turned into, but it definitely is moving away from like the CRPG roots of that franchise.
Like Origins.
Like Origins, which they've been away from that for a while. So I guess it's not that big of a deal, but it looked very different from what I think Dragon Age fans are expecting. And if there are even still any Dragon Age fans, I don't know. They went a really long time since the last game.
I am, but I completely agree with what
it was
you
game
just
of the
said
year.
as well.
Like what, 2015 was it? It was game of the year.
No, Origins was game of the year in some publications, like 2011 maybe, and then Inquisition was 2016. Yeah.
2016. Okay, yeah. So it wasn't even that long ago, right? 6-7 years.
It might have been 2015 actually. Now that you say that, but it doesn't matter.
I think it was 15 because 2016 was Overwatch. If I'm not,
you are right. Yes, you are right.
So but it's been a really long time. So I don't know. I don't. It's supposed to be a continuation of Inquisition's story. I'm like, how are they going to pull that off? It's been so long. Nobody remembers. Do you remember the Dreadwolf twist?
That was a DLC.
That's true. The story was
it happened
in the main game, and then they
expanded on it in the DLC. Right. But
yeah,
exactly. It's supposed to be based off of that. So I'm like,
well, BioWare is really good at giving you a comic book catch up, for what happened. And
it's going to need like a 10-minute video at the start of that game.
Super long. Yeah. It's going to be like a 30-minute video. And then making a couple choices here and there.
Yeah.
By the way,
if they'll tie in like Origins somehow into it, or
coincidentally, my fiance is playing through Origins right now, which is really weird.
Game?
Just super weird timing, but she's
such a great
it.
game.
Yeah, it's such a great game. And I kind of forgot how good the writing was because I've been watching her play it as I'm doing other stuff.
Yes.
And it's just like the dialogue is so damn good, even though the game, looks like butt in terms of how it's aged. It at its core, like the world building, the dialogue, like all the stuff that you really cared about in that game. Still, it actually kind of made me go like, wow, has game writing gotten worse? You know what I mean? Like, has it? Because it's not very often you kind of see that level of storytelling. So very impressive stuff.
Yeah, we don't. Well, I don't want to say we don't get a lot like that anymore, but yeah, I'm hoping that Dreadwolf kind of gets back to that a little bit. As you said, what we've seen so far doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, but we shall see. By the way, Real Radic in the chat says it's 2014 actually that it got Game of the Year. So even earlier.
So, even earlier. Yeah, so it's been almost a decade by the time that game comes out. It's not coming out this year, right? So
no.
Yeah,
I think they said highly unlikely it'll be out this year, which means it's not coming out this year.
For sure.
So to close out the Hogwarts conversation, and not really about Hogwarts, but I was looking at the success of it, and then I started to think, we've talked about what's coming this year that we know is releasing this year, and it occurred to me that the potential for this year to have kind of several Hogwarts like successes is is really kind of crazy when you think about it, because we've got Hogwarts now, we've got Starfield, which is going to be massive. We've got Diablo 4. It's going to be huge. Supposedly Spider-Man 2 is still coming this year. That's going to be giant. Tears of the Kingdom, obviously Zelda. That's a no-brainer. So we're looking at a year where we could get 5+ games that are basically single player for the most part, 10+ million copies sold games. And that comes on the heels of Ragnarok, which has already broken that 11 million copies or whatever Sony said, that came out, late in 2022. This is going to be a ridiculous stretch, like 12-month stretch, a rolling year, if you will, of just major single player game releases. Not that I have a point here. I'm just something I've kind of thought about over the past day where, I think all of us for some years were like, where are the single player games going? And many of us said they're not going anywhere, right? Like there's plenty of examples of huge mega hits. And I think this year is going to be a prime example of the Dan-like games, right? These are the games Dan always talks about he loves, the huge single player games that, just hit on a AAA scale. And this looks to be maybe one of the best years ever for that.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And that's with all the other stuff, like,
Yeah, I mean, that's still leaving out a ton of other games. Final Fantasy 16 is another one. I mean, that's a huge franchise. You've got Street Fighter 6. I know it's a fighting game, but Street Fighter is a monster IP.
That one's multiplayer. Redfall.
That's true. Yeah. I'm just thinking of I was thinking of big sales, but yeah.
If you add in multiplayer games, like the next game I'm reviewing is Lightfall, which, I mean, that's not
another big one.
It's Destiny, but the Destiny does go hard when it comes out. It's always the biggest thing for a couple weeks. So.
Yeah, and I can segue us into the Nintendo Direct, which Metroid Prime remaster or remake, which most people are calling it, seems to be really good. I haven't played it yet, but we'll go through the Nintendo Direct. But as I think everyone knows, Nintendo Shadow Drop Metroid Prime remaster. And from all accounts that I've seen, it seems to be incredible. Everyone I know that's playing it is talking about really how surprisingly well done it is for a Nintendo remaster, which, jokes aside. But this seems to be what everyone was hoping for with this kind of bringing Metroid Prime back to the spotlight.
Yeah, it's good. I played it a little bit. It's good. Metroid Prime, great game.
Great game. Yeah, I think all of us are waiting to see what Metroid Prime 4 is, and hopefully they do the series justice and bring it back to limelight. But for now, it seems like this remake is impressive. $40 and physical release for those of like me who care. Actually, tomorrow, the 13th. So pumped for that. Dan, are you Metroid Prime? I can't remember. Do you like those games?
I love Metroid Prime. I haven't played my Switch for probably 2 years. I think Fire Emblem was the last one. Three Houses.
Three Houses, yeah, not the new one, the older one.
Nope, it's been a long time. I'm not going to pick it up, but that's awesome that they actually did a good job on it. So it gives me a little bit of hope for Metroid Prime 4, which might make me want to pick up my Switch.
Yeah,
I'm at the point now where that thing is so I don't even know where it is. I don't even know where it is. I don't even know where my
no
Switch
one knows
is.
where it is. Oh, your Switch. I thought you meant Metroid Prime 4. I was like, nobody knows.
Nobody knows where Prime 4 is. I don't know where my Switch is. Like one of my kids has it. I got 3 of them, and I don't even know where they are. So yeah, I think one of them, my daughter has one in Chicago. My son's got one. The other son's got one. I gotta get it back for Zelda. Maybe. I don't know. It's gonna be hard for me to go back on a downgraded graphics kind of thing. I'm just not a big fan.
It's crazy, and we're going to run through the direct here because it seemed to be, by all accounts, an excellent direct with a lot of info. But it seems, based on what I saw, that Nintendo's kind of doubling down. Now, of course, they're not going to spoil their own hardware ahead of time, right? But they're kind of doubling down that they're focused on Switch releases, and seemingly we don't have a new Switch, or the rumored Switch Pro that we heard about possibly got canceled. And they've kind of now evolved to just supporting the Switch and eventually kind of taking the leap to whatever next gen is for them. But it doesn't seem to be on the horizon, anytime soon. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
That would bring me back in to some of these games. I mean, I want to see that, some of these games don't need it. I understand that, it's fine. But, when you start playing a certain way and you start seeing, certain things, you start having your expectations raised a little bit, at least for me. And I love Zelda, but I don't know if it's worth the effort to go find my Switch, number one, and get it all set up. I mean, that's how bad it is at this point for me and Nintendo. Loved you guys, but give me a new like real nice, 4K, maybe 60. I don't know if you can do that because it's so small. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
anything like that.
The Steam Deck pretty much showed what a next gen Switch could be for the most part.
That's true.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I know we've had this conversation before. We won't stay on it, and I know we're not alone. I know a lot of people like us who, are used to Series X, PS5, or higher end PCs. Even more that. You think about playing a brand new AAA game on the Switch, and it's just like, man, why? What are we doing here? Because whether you like it or not, just a reminder of how dated the Switch is, right? Its hardware is inferior to the launch Xbox One and PS4, which were already generally underpowered at their release in 2013.
Yeah, but those are not mobile devices.
True. I'm just saying straight power. So because I know I don't want to speak kind of anecdotally from my own experience, but when I play my Switch, I don't play it portable. I play it on my TV. And it's just like when you play on a big 4K TV, your Switch, and then you immediately go back and play, whatever next gen, something like God of War Ragnarok, right? I mean, it's more than night and day, right? It's generational leaps. It just doesn't feel the same.
I'm going to go ahead and say, I think Nintendo's strategy appears to be working. I don't think that they need a new
100%.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to say they need anything.
Yeah, to me, I think you can make a console that lacks power, and all you have to do is design your games around the fact that they don't need power. I think sometimes that doesn't work, right? You try to put a game on there like, their port of The Witcher 3 that I kind of raised my eyebrow at, that I think maybe they shouldn't try doing, or maybe they keep trying at it with the cloud stuff they're doing. Maybe it gets a little better, but they've managed to do something crazy, which is get all sorts of different types of gamers into the Switch and Nintendo ecosystem, and then just power it with they've got their whole nostalgia push with all of the Game Boy Advance and original Game Boy games that they announced this week that I'm sure is going to drive online service. They're still putting out games that do some impressive stuff with pushing the hardware. I'm sure that Tears of the Kingdom is going to make people forget all about the hardware limitations of the Switch, because those games somehow managed to run quite well through some, I assume, alchemical process that I'll never quite understand how the heck that works. But yeah, I mean, it limits the types of experiences you can have, certainly. But the flip side of that is it opens up accessibility. It's such a cheap device, and
true.
There's
cheap to manufacture. It's not that cheap to buy. I mean, they really haven't had big price cuts on the Switch. The OLED Switch is still $350.
The base one is $199 though, isn't it?
$299.
$299. Okay, yeah, I mean that's basically as expensive as Nintendo ever gets. The $300 price range, but it's still it gives you experiences you can't get anywhere else. I mean, I've not regretted my Switch model, and I don't think Nintendo feels really any pressure to release a new hardware, and I think they would lose money certainly if they did. Because the thing about releasing new hardware is you always say, "Oh, it'll all work on the old stuff," and then developers go, "Nah, no, it's not gonna though," right? And so I think, that's it. The Switch Lite is $199.
Switch Lite's $199.
The one that doesn't hook up to the thing. And as somebody who only plays their Switch in mobile mode, because if I'm sitting at a TV, I would just play, my bigger consoles. It fills a niche for me. You're on the subway and you need something to play. It is high quality, and I don't know. It works for me for sure.
Well, obviously works for a lot of people, right? And I want to be clear that when we talk about this, as many do, it's certainly not for a lack of understanding why Nintendo does what they do, right? They just passed what did they pass? The PlayStation 4 sales, I think, and the something else, but 122 plus million units sold. I think they are only behind the PS2, if I remember correctly, in terms of like the best-selling console of all time now, which is just beat
nuts. The Wii. The Wii was up there. I think the Wii
was 111 or 112, something like that. Yeah, I off the top of my head. But it's impressive, and it still continues to sell extremely well. And we all know that Tears of the Kingdom is only gonna boost that even further. So can't complain about what they're doing in that sense financially anyway.
I know what they're doing. I mean, it's been like that for 6 or 7 years. I mean,
we've had this conversation
obviously
forever.
A long time ago, but it's they're not going anywhere. I mean, I'm not worried about them going. I just it's more of from the Nintendo fan that I wish I could get like a higher end piece of hardware.
For sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
But
Game Boy, by the way. Game Boy they passed. Thank you, Mr. M. Gecko.
Boy's huge. Yeah. I just think that the people asking for the high-end Switch, they don't realize that if Nintendo ever did that, they would be killing the default Switch, because developers would immediately abandon targeting those specs and would just move on to something else, and then stuff doesn't run well, right? That's the Cyberpunk 2077 problem. Is it was designed to work on those consoles, but not really, right? They targeted Xbox Series X and PS5, and then people who played on the old consoles, it was unplayable. And I don't think Nintendo would ever put out a game that was unplayable on their default Switch model. So they basically are a victim of their own success, right? They can't put out a Switch Pro because then they've invalidated however many hundreds of millions of consoles they've sold to regular Switch users. It's just a weird kind of situation.
My response to that is, if it dies, it dies. So,
which is what they say in the boardroom at Nintendo. I mean, that's how they make decisions: is if it dies, it dies. Big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it's to their community as well. We've talked many times about how they've merged the mobile and the console, their divisions kind of into one, right? Between the 3DS and the Wii at the time, and now they have a console that kind of does it all, and it's proven to be the right thing for them, which is great. So before we run down the direct, I don't want to let Gecko's super chat sit too long, but I did want to comment on it. So let's get the super chat real quick, Dan.
Sure. With the €6, thank you, Gecko Gamer, again for the probably 100th time. It will always be. It will also be the first year where there won't be a mainline COD at the end of the year.
Yeah. So he's obviously talking about the major kind of releases before we started going down the Nintendo route. But I wanted to touch on this because the prevailing. What?
Did you guys see the rumors this week? There actually might be a Call of Duty.
That's what I was going to say. The prevailing information that we had going into the year was that they were skipping a mainline Call of Duty release this year and focusing on basically year 2 content for Modern Warfare 2. But according to Tom Henderson and a few others, it looks like we are going to get a mainline COD this year. It's going to be Sledgehammer's release that they've been working on for a few years. So I guess obviously we'll see once everything gets confirmed. But from the sources that are saying we're gonna get a mainline COD, they're trustworthy sources that usually get it right. So gonna be interesting to see. But I mean, obviously when COD releases, it's the biggest game of the year. So, but I'm telling you, I'm still betting on, not that I would bet ever against Call of Duty winning in terms of sales, but I still think Diablo 4 is going to blow people away in terms of how much it sells. So we'll see. But thank you, Gecko. Appreciate you as always. All right, let's go ahead and run down the Nintendo Direct. I'm gonna, I've kind of got the list here of the core things. There was a lot of games shown. I'm not going to touch on every single thing, but we'll hit on the big ones. Let me run down this list, guys, and then we'll talk about, we'll obviously talk more about Tears of the Kingdom. I want to talk about the $70 price point for Tears of the Kingdom, but talk about some of these other kind of major releases as well. So we already touched on Metroid Prime. They also dropped a demo for Octopath Traveler 2, not necessarily Nintendo per se, but, you know, it's aligned with Nintendo, right, from the first game. They talked about the expansion pass for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which you reviewed, Travis, and Volume 3 of that comes out this week, a couple days on the 15th. They talked about a Castlevania-based DLC for Dead Cells, which is pretty cool. Dead Cells is a great kind of roguelite, so if you're into that, that's coming on March 6th. Bayonetta Origins, which we had seen, I think previous show somewhere. We had seen it somewhere before, maybe the Video Game Awards. March 17th, that's coming. The Advanced Wars 1 and 2 reboot, which is, you know, a lot of people are kind of into Advanced Wars and been waiting on that. That's coming on April 21st. There's a Splatoon 3 expansion that's going to be coming in spring. They didn't give an official date that I saw, but just spring. There's additional content for Mario Kart 8 that just continues to get content, the best-selling game of all time on the
live service game. Nintendo's in denial about that game, but it is a live service game. And
it is a live service game.
All they're missing is a season pass, and I have no clue why they don't do it.
Well, they had a track pass, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a track pass.
They had a track pass, but I'm talking about like seasonal content with like cosmetic unlockables, win races, that sort of thing. They don't have kind of that tradition. Dude,
that's for the next one.
If they could just turn, honestly, I think they accidentally fell into a live service game with Mario Kart, and the next one, it's got to be full fledged because, dude, it's crazy.
Pikmin 4, which we knew was coming, has a release date now of July 21st. So that's coming right in the middle of the summer. Interesting release date, but I think it probably fits for that game. And then, of course, Tears of the Kingdom is coming on May 12th. They showed more of that game. They announced the collector's edition for it, which sold out in, 8 seconds. And then it is the first, I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw a lot of conversation about it. The first party game from Nintendo that's going to be $70. And their official statement for what I saw, I believe it was IGN or one of the big sites that reached out to them, they said that it is a case-by-case basis. This is not going to mean that every first party game from Nintendo is going to be $70, but Tears of the Kingdom is. So let's start wherever you guys want to. How did you guys feel about this Direct? Did you, a lot of content here you like, anything you're interested in? How'd you feel about kind of the presentation itself?
I can go first real quick. Nothing. Maybe Zelda. That was basically the only thing that really kind of hit me. Other than that, like I said, I can't even find my Switch. I don't even know where it is. So none of this.
I don't think you're their target market at this point.
No, definitely not. And Metro Prime, that's great. That's about it. I don't even think my kids play it anymore. I think they just have it in like a drawer somewhere. That's where my Switch has been relegated to.
Switch,
a drawer.
It sounds like your kids are like my son, where they've gotten to that age where they're exploring PC gaming and they're kind of just in that mode. I'm
just telling you guys, there's a thing where it's just like, oh yeah, we got to have this, and then you kind of flatten out. You're like, oh, hey, nostalgia, oh, it's amazing. And then you're just like, no, hell with nostalgia. I don't need nostalgia. Get out of here with that garbage. That's stupid because there's so much better stuff than what we played 20 years ago. So, but you know what? Great for Nintendo. It's all going to sell amazing. It's going to be insane. Zelda does look cool, and I don't care about the $70 price tag, to be honest with you. But I haven't cared about a $70 price tag when Sony did it or when Xbox did it. Doesn't matter. It's just how stuff works. I'm paying $12 for a dozen eggs. So, I mean, you think it's $10 for this Zelda game that I'm going to get hours and hours and hours out of enjoyment out of for an extra $10? No.
Well, you only pay $12 for eggs?
I mean, yeah, I'm not in San Francisco. I can't imagine what it's like down there. Jiminy Christmas.
So for me, because I know Travis, I'll let you go last. And by the way, Pompa, thank you for the 5 channel membership gifts. Somehow we need to put like a clause in YouTube where Travis cannot be gifted a membership, because now I'm just going to see ties constantly, and that scares me. But thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. On this, again, I've said that, I'm not the biggest target market for Nintendo either nowadays, but I know from the people I speak to that play a lot of their content, this was considered one of the best directs they've had in a while. Even outside of Tears of the Kingdom, obviously, getting Metroid Prime finally, getting Octopath Traveler 2 demo, Advance Wars is big for them. Obviously, Mario Kart 8, Splatoon 3 getting an expansion, Pikmin 4 finally coming. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here if you're in that ecosystem. And there's more than what I just said, too. I know there's more content for Kirby, I believe. There's, is it Professor Layton, I think, is coming.
That's a huge one, because Professor Layton last one was the DS game. That franchise has been gone for a while. So this is the first time getting a new Layton game on the Switch. So that's huge. And also they're re-releasing an old DS game. Was it Ghost Detective or Spirit? I can't remember.
I can find it. I've got the whole list. The whole list can be found on seasongaming.com.
But yeah, you play Ghost Cop in that game, and it was made by the
Ghost Trick Phantom Detective.
Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, yes. That game was made by the same guy who made the Ace Attorney series. So if you like storytelling stuff, I hear the story in that game is very good. I've actually not finished that game. I played part of it. So this is an opportunity for me to finally play that game.
Yeah, they talked new Tron game, Tron Identity. Samba de Amigo, of all things, Sega Classic, is coming with a new entry. It just says summer on that one. I'm trying to go through the whole list to see if there's anything else that jumps out.
Didn't they add a bunch of like stuff to their online?
Like Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy Advance. Disney Illusion Island, which looked, obviously if you're into kind of the Disney stuff with Mickey and Donald and stuff, that's coming July 28th. That looked really interesting. There's the expansion pass for Fire Emblem Engage. I know we don't talk a lot here on Bitcast about these franchises, but these are big franchises. A lot of people play them. They just don't happen to be our audience per se. But there's a lot of stuff here. So if you need a full rundown, like I said, we covered it all on the site. You can check that out quickly and easily. But it was a big show, man. Big show.
They did a good job, man. I can't. I mean, from a content perspective, it was really, really good. Just uninteresting to me. So,
sure. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
I mean, but to sit here and kind of dismiss it, maybe like I sounded like I was, it's not. It's a huge thing for them. I mean, this is why they have a regular Switch and why they're not working on new hardware, because they're putting out Tetris for the original Game Boy on the Switch, and it needs very little power to do so. But that was probably my favorite thing, was the Tetris for the old Game Boy, because that was my dad's favorite game to play. He played that so much, and that was I every time I see it, I'm just like, oh man, there it is. I still got a yellow Game Boy upstairs that I still that he left me. So
I was gonna say, if you think back to the original Game Boy release with Tetris, and now if you look back on that, especially the younger generation who really wasn't around or old enough to play Game Boy at release per se, it's hard to explain just how big of a thing that was, despite it being so incredibly simple when you look at it now, right? But it was a phenomenon. And it's still just kind of incredible to reflect on. Let's not forget, I mean, you go back to the original Game Boy, not only is it not color, right? But it didn't even have a backlight. Like, I remember sitting under a lamp, at night and just trying to play those games. And it's just comical.
You bought the thing that flipped over.
No, I wasn't rich, Dan. Calm down, okay?
You had to have that thing that just flipped over. It was just a square with like a light on it that attached to the Game Boy, and you had to use that, because we would sit there and just pass it back and forth. I'm like, yeah, come on, so we'd sit there and do it for hours.
You ever get the little plug-in?
The little wired light, and
that goes up like that and goes over your screen. Cast light on it.
Ours was like a box, some kind of, it was like a square frame.
Oh, yeah, that was for the old. I guess I'm talking about the Game Boy Color. Game Boy Color had like a little crazy straw that would go.
This guy in his color.
Yeah.
It's not a typical San Francisco hipster.
Yeah, sorry, we have color here. Yeah. No, but I had the original Game Boy. I actually still have my old brick in the
brick.
The brick, yes. Dude. I've got it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good console.
So the $70 conversation, I don't have a lot to say on this. I think that, this is Nintendo's, sorry, I just jumped from Game Boy back to Tears of the Kingdom, but this is Nintendo's premier franchise. Zelda Breath of the Wild, as much as I've joked about it, it is, considered one of the greatest games ever. It's one of the best selling games ever. It's people have been waiting for this follow-up to it. I mean, if I'm Nintendo, yeah, this is a $70 game. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You can argue all you want about does it deserve to be $70? I don't even know how you would define that, honestly, realistically, without just debating and getting into personal opinions. I have no care that it's $70. It doesn't matter to me. But to me, it's not surprising. You see the industry's moving that way. More and more publishers are going to $70. It shouldn't be surprising to anyone, even though Nintendo's kind of their own thing and they're a little behind in times of certain things and methodologies. The fact that this is the sequel to Breath of the Wild, one of their most successful games ever, doesn't surprise me. It's $70.
Does it like, I don't understand like why people are upset about it, I guess. I understand it's more money, obviously, but I mean, did people expect games to just stay at $60 for the next like 30 or 40 years?
I think the argument I've seen against it is that because the industry has grown so much and it's more technically, there's more revenue streams in the gaming industry today, right, than there was, ever. That if you look at kind of the revenue streams and the profitability of some of these major publishers, they're making more money. So why are games more expensive? That's the argument against it.
They want these publishers to eat the cost of the extra stuff. I understand that. That's dumb. That's dumb.
It can also be a shallow-minded view because, profitability depends on your portfolio as well, right? And deliverables and a number of other things. And revenue is not profit. And those two things are often misconstrued. And so there's a lot of context and nuance to the conversation rather than just saying they're making a lot of money, games should be cheaper. That's not how it works. That's not how any industry works.
They are also, a lot of these companies are more profitable than they've ever been as well.
They are, yeah.
Corporate profits are super high, and if you're in the United States, corporate tax rate just got significantly lower a couple years ago.
Did.
And there's I get why people are upset about it. Again, this is why I'm glad I review games where the price doesn't matter, not part of the equation. But I get it, man. I get why people would be upset. about
sorry,
that.
I was just typing without mute. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I like hearing your mechanical keyboard.
Sure, but it doesn't take into account cost to develop or the number of games they make or ongoing support or multiple platforms. I mean, and I realize all of that ties back to profit and revenue at some point, right? It's a converging stream in conversation. But I mean, at the same time, I don't know. I also get the counter that games are cheaper to distribute nowadays, right? Like they don't have to package and ship and the digital, the profit margin of game delivery is higher too. So, I mean, I can see some arguments there, but it just doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
Even if you take all of that, context out, even if you wanted to, just looking at the consumer's decision, which is, are games $10 better? That's an interesting, because that's basically the only question the consumer has to care about, right? Are games worth $10?
Are we getting more for the $10?
Yeah,
yes.
And is $10 actually more if we account for inflation and other stuff, right? So I think that there's certainly an argument to be made, and again, this is a personal choice. It is up to you if it's worth your money. Luckily, we've got deals and things go on sale over time, so but yeah, I 100% empathize with the person who says $70 is bullshit. Like it, companies are making more money. You can look at it from that angle of like, well, they're kind of just raising prices just to raise them. I get that. And you can also look at it from the quality perspective of, well, games are not $10 better. So why are they charging me more and giving me less? And all fine debates and opinions to have, and people make their own decision. But yeah, I don't have a problem with the logic in any of those. I get why people are upset.
Yeah, I agree. I get that. I guess it just doesn't bother me to the same degree. But yeah, there's a lot that can be said on. And again, the thing I would caution against is painting with broad strokes, right? There's probably situations in companies where there, as you just said, right, the cost to develop, the cost of distribution, the profitability margins of specific titles may call for a title to be more in one instance where not necessarily the next. We've talked about things in the past where, like, I'm going to think of a bad example here, but what's a $70 game? So you think of something like a Callisto Protocol. That's the first thing that popped to my head. It's a 8-hour game, 10 hours if you're moving slowly, right? High production value, but nothing mind blowing. I enjoyed it for what it was. I think I gave it a 7 or 7.5, right? And that's a $70 game. Then I look at something like Elden Ring. That's a $70 game. Or it might even have been 60. I don't remember. But I look at Elden Ring and I'm like, that's a game I can put 500 hours into. And the scope of that game is so far beyond what do you call it? Callisto Protocol is. How are those two things cost the same? But that's just the way the industry's always been. They have like an MSRP for your standard major release. And I'm not saying it's right, but I think there's a conversation there to be had around, pricing model that may be broader than just everything needs to be $60 or $70. That was kind of all over the place, but sorry.
I mean, it's a systemic problem. So I mean, it's not going to change anytime soon, and we're probably going to pay $80 soon. Hell, there's Ubisoft releases $120 version of all their games. I mean, it's
Haynes has been paying $180 for games for years because it was giant boxes with statues in them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's capitalism. Shit happens. What are you going to do, man? I mean, that's the way I look at it. I got to either evolve or get the hell out of the hobby. Is basically what's going to end up happening.
Yeah, I will say this about the price thing. I get why people are upset about it, but
I do too.
We do fortunately live in a game where games are the most accessible they've ever been, which I think is a pro of the industry. Now with some of that, you have to kind of pick and choose. Like you have to wait for PlayStation to make it their game with gold. What do they call it?
No, that's Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know. Who even remembers? Or you have to wait for it to go on Game Pass or EA Play or one of those other apps. But you can on a extremely small budget. A lot of games are free now, right? Apex Legends, great game. You can play that for free. So I think there's pros and cons to this situation. It's up to developers and publishers to each run their own business. I do think there's a little bit of pressure within the industry to raise prices since everybody's doing it. There's probably an accountant somewhere going, why don't we charge $10 more too? Look, everybody else is doing
of course
it,
there is.
It kind of just becomes a fad. But I think I understand why Nintendo thinks that they can charge $10 extra for Tears of the Kingdom. I think I get that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And as you just kind of commented on too, right? We live in an age where the gaming industry is so big and so many games are releases, and we had the long conversation about live service and only being able to invest time and money into so many of those, right? What we see, and we joke about this with Ubisoft all the time, we're only talking about the week of game releases, right? Game prices come down pretty rapidly in today's market, where that wasn't always the case either, right? If you're willing to wait a month for major game releases, you'll save a ton of money. Not with Nintendo, because Nintendo just keeps their prices ridiculous forever. But
yeah, you got to wait a little bit longer for them as well.
Yeah, but Nintendo, a lot of
tons. Yeah, you're talking like 5 years down the road, you're still playing, $80 or $70 for that. What was that one game where I can't remember? It launched with it. I can't remember what the hell that game was. Where it was like,
Which console?
it was like
Wii Sports.
It wasn't Wii Sports. It was. Damn. Now I'm gonna have to.
Talk about ARMS.
Explain it to me.
Yeah, ARMS.
ARMS.
That was it. ARMS. It's still like full price everywhere you go. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a couple comments on this too. Let's go ahead and get these super chats.
Sure. Fusion 64 with $5 super chat. In an industry where layoffs are happening, Nintendo just gave all employees a 10% raise. See, that's awesome.
Oh, if only it worked that way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. If it was like that everywhere, we'd be all right. I understand where these people are coming from for sure. I just, I also buy way less games than I used to. So
fewer.
It doesn't, I guess it doesn't bother me, from that point of view. So I don't have, I see people sitting there like $70 games, but my backlog is so huge. We'll finish a damn game first and then maybe save some money up for that extra $10. I mean, you can't say you're going to have both, man.
I think the excitement of new releases is and fear, the 100%. FOMO there is huge. Yeah, it's like you don't have to buy all these games you can't even play at release. Like, pace yourself a bit.
Relax.
The Fusion's point, though, it's funny because that's not how it works, right? We know the money's not just going to the devs from this raise directly. But again, that's why I said you need to be careful painting with broad strokes, because different companies do different things. They have different profit sharing levels, how they take care of their employees, corporate executive benefits. There's just way too much that goes in each of these companies, and a lot of which we don't even know because it's not public information. So it's hard to paint with a broad brush in that regard, but yeah. And then thank you, Fusion, for the super chat, and Gecko back again.
Yeah, with the €11 again, Gecko. I want to say that demand made the game more expensive, but with digital distribution, the supply is infinite. So the whole equation goes out the window.
Yeah,
I mean that's a fair point.
Yeah, digital
it's
distribution
really not,
definitely.
Yeah, I don't think games have ever really been distribution because DVD discs are pretty easy to come by. It's mostly been demand is bizarre for games because they're creative, so you never know which ones are going to be a hit and which ones aren't, and so it's really a budgeting game. How much money can I spend on a game? How good can I make it versus how big is the audience? And unfortunately, it's not like some industries where, if you make vacuums, exactly how many people you have to sell to and how many people buy vacuums and have vacuums.
Is that where your mind went? Vacuums?
If you're selling a widget, right, like a car or whatever, like a product that people, exactly how many people need them and how many people are going to buy them. Yeah, it's like vacuums.
I don't know why I found that so funny. It's just a weird jump. You went to vacuums.
It's just people use that as like the default thing you're selling. But if you're selling something like that, you always know how big your market is. But with games, you don't know how big of an audience Hogwarts Legacy has really, because what is the Venn diagram of people that play video games who also like Harry Potter, and how many people like open world
apparently
RPG
a lot.
Apparently it's a lot.
Venn diagram for vacuum owners and Harry Potter fans? Probably
100%.
100%. Right.
Maybe actually, you know what? Harry Potter probably use brooms.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow, we went there.
Yep,
wait, should they make an expansion where you get to ride a vacuum? That actually makes more sense.
Yeah, do like a sponsorship with Hoover or something.
Yeah,
right?
They should. Because honestly, it would make more sense to ride a vacuum because you could just have it blow out. It's like a little turbo boost, right? It shoots out the dust.
I like how you're going.
What's wrong, Ains?
Yep.
This is what dealing with Slytherin every week. Every week I deal with these two Slytherin.
Hey,
buggers.
We're just trying to make a buck here, okay? We're not stuck in the old ways, right?
Gecko, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. And we got Don Lionheart in the house as well.
All right. Well, you know what? He has two, so I'm going to read these in order. Two $10 super chats from Don Lionheart.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, you're reading the wrong one. You're reading the wrong one.
No, I'm not. Hello, friends. I hope you are all well. I'm still using archives to kill time while driving to my girlfriend in Jacksonville. Yes, she's my girlfriend.
Yeah, we did it.
Nice work, Don.
Credit for that.
We like it's all due to Bitcast and the love that we spread here. And the second, I want to give you guys a big shout out and thank you for listing Dragon Age as having a great DLC a few weeks ago. Dragon Age is a top 3 for me and is underappreciated. Love you all. Don, we love you, and we love your girlfriend. We love your relationship and everything about it. So
That's right.
enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
That's going to be the first Bitcast couple, right?
Yes.
That's
Oh man,
Travis will fly down to Florida. I'm putting this out there right now and officiate your wedding because he needs to. You probably have that license, don't you?
I do. I've actually officiated weddings before. Yeah.
Yep.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, I've got all the licenses. You gotta spend your time somehow.
This is amazing.
I'm going to be honest with everyone listening. This show got away from me. I don't know what happened.
It's a slow news week, guys. I'm just saying, we're all right. We're good on time.
I'm actually licensed to marry people in all 50 states of the United States. That's actually kind of rare.
Perfect.
Oh my God, guys. Thank you for the super chats. Gecko, Don, congrats. Glad to hear about the relationship. That's fantastic. Our official Bitcast couple. Love to hear it. Bitcast. We're matchmakers over here. It's what we do.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And with that, we go back to the proper frame to celebrate. You know what I mean? So
That's right.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Oh my God. Too funny. Hey, Neo Game Spark in the chat. What's going on, man? Good to see you, brother. By the way, I want to take a large segue real quick, but can we quickly, since we're just off topic at the moment anyway, quickly talk about how bad Fast X looks? Can we talk about that?
How dare you, sir? Wow.
I muted him. Don't worry. You don't have to listen to it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it looks, doesn't it look atrocious? Like
when I saw Jason Momoa, I was like, I thought he was in the Hobbs and Shaw one, but that was actually Roman Reigns. They look really similar, you know? So, I mean, I was like, what are they doing here? Maybe that's his brother. I'm not sure.
I don't know what anyone's
Paul
doing
Walker
here. Now they've got
really
jets.
Yeah.
Now there's jets. Now there's.
Already. So
I don't know what's going on.
I'm not sure how you can top that.
I don't know. It's real bad. It's real bad. Like, and then Vin Diesel just sounds like, you know, he started taking steroids when he was like 4, and it just, you know, he's completely blown his brain out. I don't know what's happening with this. It's bad.
He's not a smart man, as Forrest Gump would say. That's what I kind of get from him. So
it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
I thankfully on this show anyway, we don't know anyone who really kind of takes that seriously. I don't know anyone who takes it seriously, to be honest. But you know, anyway. Yep. Oh, Travis is back. What's up, dude? We were just talking about Tears of the Kingdom. We're gonna move on.
Say your piece.
Go ahead. You are chomping at the bit. I see it.
I'm champing at the bit. Horses champ ains. Okay. Yes, I am.
Just for that, I'm going to mute you again. What now? This is too much fun.
Yeah,
all right, go ahead. Go ahead. You're in. You're in. Go. Go.
Fast X is awesome. I'm very excited for the next chapter in the first and only live action anime. If anybody wants to come and watch it with me and a bunch of other IGNers, I am renting a theater on May 19th. It is a black tie event. There will be Fast and Furious trivia.
Hold on one second. This is not a joke. This is
not a
bit.
joke. This is not a joke.
Real.
I'm actually doing this. There will be Fast and Furious trivia with prizes beforehand, hosted by yours truly. And Ains and Dan, I expect both of you to fly out to San Francisco. It's at the Alamo Draft House, which is a classy theater. They serve alcohol and food, and
we have them here. Yeah, they're good theater.
Yeah, there you go.
Same thing.
Well, it's mine on May 19th.
If you can get Han, I'll be there. That's the rule.
Han Solo.
No,
Did you know that's his name? Han. His name is Han Sol. SEOUL -OH. Han Solo.
Yeah,
it's not his real name. It's an alias. He's actually a character from a different Justin Lin movie, Better Luck Tomorrow, which is an underrated indie film. Sorry, am I going too deep into the Fast and Furious lore, which exists and is super dense?
You see why I muted him, right? In all seriousness, as much as I joke about it, if I was local to you and I had a way of getting there, seriously, I would definitely come join you because that sounds like a lot of fun. It really does. I don't care about the movie at all, but what you're putting on for it sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, come on down. And water's fine. You can visit your old haunts, we'll go to all your favorite places. Where'd you go to school? I don't know. We'll go there. It'll be great.
I don't know. I was a baby. No.
Okay. Great.
No. By the way, Tom909 says Travis holding a wedding in a Florida Cracker Barrel needs to happen.
Well,
I don't know when that would ever happen, but that sounds like something that does.
If somebody asked me to officiate their wedding in Florida in a Cracker Barrel, just pay for my ticket. I'd do it.
That's awesome.
If you do it, I'm going. Yeah, I'll be there. We'll do it.
You assume you're going to get invited to the wedding? You don't know these people, Ains. Like, what are you there for? I'm officiating. I've got a job at least.
I'm there for the biscuits, man. Come on.
Great. Yeah. You're just at the restaurant. They didn't even rent it out. It's still operating.
What is this? What is a Cracker Barrel? Beast mode? I mean, I can't even with that stuff.
What is a Cracker Barrel? Don't you guys start. Don Lionheart is back with 2 more super chats. Let's go ahead and knock these out.
Widget is used all the time in legal hypotheticals. If I could talk today, this whole Fast X thing has got me flustered. $2 super chat.
Yeah, widget is more ubiquitous than vacuums. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that. And if Travis can rent a theater, IGN pays him too much. Yeah.
I
am not the Hogwarts Legacy.
Trust me, I'm not renting that theater with IGN money. All right, I have many jobs.
I mean, IGN spent all their money on the 9 for Hogwarts Legacy, from what I heard.
Yeah. Wait, wouldn't they get paid? They paid somebody else to get a 9? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. They spent their money to get a 9. I don't understand. How is this business viable? It doesn't make any sense.
We got a couple more to get to. BMG is Bald Man Gamer, by the way.
Is what? I'm sorry.
Bald Man Gamer.
Bald Man Gamer. I like this guy.
Yeah.
All right, with the $1.79 pounds, I guess $1.79.
Yeah.
I can't even talk today, man. This whole Fast X thing has got me going crazy. Just want to say hello from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Bald Man Gamer. We appreciate you. We appreciate your baldness.
Good to see you, man.
I'm loving all these super chats. I want you to read the mains. I want you to read all these quotes from Fast and Furious. Dan, make him. Do it.
All right, I got it. I want to quickly, before we move on, I'm going to shout out Bald Man Gamer. I'm actually joining them on their show. I was supposed to be on their PSN Party podcast this past Wednesday. As happens in my career, work threw me a curveball. I had to cancel on them, but we're going to do it this Wednesday. So shout out to Bald Man Gamer. Looking forward to chatting with those guys later this week. So thank you for the super chat. We got Mariana Pompa in the house with the $5 super chat. With one, funny enough, Travis, I use this quote a lot jokingly as we're playing Halo. So granny shifting, not double clutching like you should, which if you know anything about driving in cars, you know that entire quote is absurd and doesn't even make any sense.
It does in the FCU. That's the family.
Because the FCU has no bearing on actual cars or driving. So that's fair.
It is a fantasy. So,
that's fair. If you call it a fantasy, it makes more sense. So there you go.
It is, dude. He stomps on a parking garage and collapses it. All right. He's more powerful than Captain America. It's clearly a fantasy film.
Is the FCU family
cinematic universe? Yeah.
Okay.
I coined that phrase. It's gonna catch on.
That's fair. God, somebody should be.
Thank you, Pampa. And Sarko in the house with you almost had me. $4.99 super chat, Sark. Thank you so much. My God. It does make me want to go back and watch the first one again now. I'll be honest with you.
No, it doesn't.
It does a little bit. Because the first one's the only one that actually has like 8 minutes of decent footage.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Is it one of having a barbecue?
The best Fast and Furious movie is Fast 5, where they do a heist in Brazil. All right. And you would know if you watched the trailer this week that Jason Momoa's character is the son of Reyes, the bad guy from Fast 5, who's coming back to get revenge on them for the sins of the past. You guys know nothing of Fast and Furious, okay? This is serious stuff here.
What are your feelings on Hobbs and Shaw, though? Like, is that like just it's an offshoot, right? So
it's a side quest.
Okay.
As a movie, it's not terribly good, but it helps build out the universe. I'm a fan of it. Guys, did you know that
it's a Ubisoft side quest?
What? Did you know Fast and Furious has had a Netflix show for years now? And it's actually pretty good. It's an animated show.
Okay, I'm moving on.
How could you make it worse? Animated. Perfect.
It's for children, Dan. It's an entry level where you get to learn about Dom's nephew, bro.
Vin Diesel's now educating our children.
He should be, because Fast and Furious is fantastic, and Vin Diesel is the greatest actor of our lifetime.
I'm clipping that one.
Yeah, I'm just sitting
here now, like, Travis, this is for you.
On for like over a year now, right?
What's that?
You've been here for so long, and now I'm just going back, and like after that comment, I'm just like, well, pretty much everything he said has been just garbage. After
what?
Vin Diesel is the best American, or whatever it is you just said. Nothing else matters at this point.
His charisma is unmatched, Dan.
You don't even have verses anymore. You just put a big W over, Hogue when he comes back. Oh my God, this is crazy.
We got a couple other channel member chats. Googleman says free chats for broke people. Stork Reason is a great candy. Buy it probably at the airport. Little fun fact for you. And Big Mad Mo says, just saying the Fast series should have ended a long time ago. Other than that, great show, fellas.
Wrong.
Big Mad Mo is always on point. You know what I mean? He knows what he's talking about. Gal Gadot was the best part of Fast 5.
That's a good point. She was also in Fast and Furious, the 4th movie, which she played one of the bad guys before inevitably joining the family, as they always do. So, I mean, you could argue that she was the best part of 4. I would say she definitely is the best part of 4 because 4 has one of the weaker stories. Although it did introduce Dominic Toretto's world's greatest detective mechanic, where apparently he can look at skid marks on the ground from a car, and he can just like see what happened because he is so smart and he knows so much about cars that he has like preternatural investigative skills. You guys need to watch Fast and Furious through
cars
my
don't
eyes.
leave skid marks. Tires do, and any tires can go on different cars. You can't tell the car from the tire.
Cars are the parts of the, the tires are parts of the car, Ains. It's part of it. It's part of it. They go on the car.
I can't do this.
Kind of part of the thing.
I can't do this.
You just don't understand the genius of this franchise.
Oh my God. All right, we got a couple more super chats about this Fast and Furious. Why did I even mention Fast X? Although it's been a nice diversion in a slow news week. So Rob Frawley in the house with the $10 super chat says, I live my life a quarter mile at a time and nothing else matters.
I love Mario Napampa right now. Sorry.
No, that's Rob Frawley. That's Rob Frawley. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. Another super chat. Yeah. By the way,
love you, Rob. Thank you.
In the UK and Europe, actually, a drag race is a full mile, not our crap quarter mile like we do here, but full mile over there.
Why is that? First of all, if you watch Fast 8, you would know that they do the Cuban mile as well, which is a full mile in one of their drag races. Ains, you're so ignorant. You're so ignorant about the Fast and Furious franchise.
Thank you.
Seriously.
I've never been told something so kind. I appreciate you.
So good. So good.
Thank you, Rob. Baldman Gamer back with a 179 quid. Super chat. I only like Vin Diesel because he is bald. Fair. It's about his only redeeming quality, to be honest with you.
How dare you? Did you know Vin Diesel has an identical twin brother? It's true.
Are we talking about in the movie or
no, in real life? I'm serious. Not Dominic Toretto. But they could use him. That would be a twist.
I'm so out of sorts right now.
Do it, guys.
Oh my God. All right. Mariano Pomp with the $2 super chat. And I know he did this because I cannot say anything with a Spanish accent well. So you're saying this one. Do it.
Well, it's not said with a Spanish accent. It's said by Tyrese Gibson's character. The mouth, as he's sometimes referred to. Ejectocito, cuz, after he ejects a guy in one of the movies. It's like you've never lived, Ains. Just allow yourself to feel joy. You know what I found? Here's two things I will say unironically. Number one,
I don't believe you.
You have never experienced a positive fandom until you've met the Fast and Furious fandom. They are the most welcoming, genuinely nice. There's no assholes in that group. Like, they are just pure joy. And two, if you enjoy the Fast and Furious series, the thing that makes you enjoy it and makes other people not be able to enjoy it is your ability to just like let go and be happy. You know what I mean? Like, the people who have a lot.
What else are you gonna do? It's not like you could take it seriously, but you could say that about other franchises.
No, you can't, because every other franchise has toxicity. Like, I wish I could say that about Star Wars, that you can't really like Star Wars and that unless you
yeah, but Star Wars is generally a good IP. Of course, there's going to be invested.
First of all, I agree that it's generally a good IP, but look, there are too many toxic people in Star Wars that are people look for different things in Star Wars and in different franchises. But in the Fast and Furious franchise, the common thread seems to be people are there to just be happy. It's like it just emanates positivity. And if you don't like Fast and Furious, I already know a lot of things about you. I know about 50% of what I need to know about you as a person, which is you let the childlike spirit of wonder and the world crush you, right? You forgot to retain the spirit of youth that I think is a valuable part of just existing. And that you'll never see the world the way that I see it, which is a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
All right. Well, I will just leave it with Night Tilt's $2 super chat, and I'll just say you never had me. You never had your car.
Fair. He didn't. He used his NOS way too soon.
I do remember that. Yeah. Because that's from the first one.
Yeah. We're gonna have to change the thumbnail on this YouTube video now. And
apparently. Yeah.
We've talked longer about this in Hogwarts Legacy.
Let me review Fast and Furious game, Dan. Please.
You want me to review it? What?
No, sorry. I was talking to Dan Stapleton through the show.
Oh.
Dan Stapleton. Let me review Fast and Furious.
Well, I did not expect that tangent. I don't know if I'm happy I brought it up or sad or sorry I brought it up. I'm not sure which. It's probably a mixture of both. No matter what, we had a good laugh. It was a slow news week, like we said anyway. So we'll, we had a little Fast X conversation. You are pumped for that, though. When is it? May 12th?
May 19th.
May 19th. Okay. All right.
It's going to be a good
day. I hope you enjoy it, sir.
I will.
So it feels weird to even try and transition at this point or segue to another topic. I did want to mention, I know you guys don't play it, but it's kind of big news from what I understand in the Apex Legends community that they got the new season going called Revelry. This is what I've been told is the biggest update to Apex Legends since it launched 4 years ago. It's kind of like a 4-year celebration of the game. They revised the classes. They added Team Deathmatch. They had a new playlist. There's a new collection. You can unlock things that are exclusive for a couple of weeks. New weapon in the game, etc. So if you're an Apex Legends fan, I wanted to shout that out. It is a very enjoyable game. I haven't played it in a few months now. I was playing it for a little while there, but it was messing up my Halo game, and that's not allowed. But from everything I hear from the guys I talk to, like Game Positive and Eric and Rob and a few others in the gaming season gaming community, they say that this is fantastic. So I wanted to shout that out. You guys will just nod your heads approvingly. Okay.
Awesome.
Good.
Oh yeah, and people have asked when's the Fast and Furious? When's the Fast podcast coming? The Fast Cast.
I would absolutely do a Fast and Furious podcast if I could find anybody who would want to do that with me.
Well, apparently, it's like they're all super positive, so you should be able to find some people.
They're all super positive. I just don't know any Fast and Furious content creators. You know what I mean? Like it.
I wonder why.
Yeah, curious.
Because how could you top the movies? How could you make content?
Unless
Vin Diesel. All right.
I didn't want to go back. Just
do a limited series.
I want to do it.
Do like a 2-hour show on every movie until 10. I mean, you can just and then have like a.
It's not a bad idea, to be honest with you, Trevor.
Not that bad. And you can go into the intricacies of the
I just need
relationships
to make a YouTube
of the family.
You know what I mean? Like.
Just 10
The
episodes.
fast
That's
cast,
all
by
you
the
need.
way. I'm
11.
patenting the fast cast.
No, it'd be the cast, the cast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah, that's good
Cast and
too.
the Curious. Two cast, two curious.
Two cast by Curious.
That sounds like an entirely different topic.
Yep, now
Yeah,
we're getting off topic
exactly.
again. There we go. Now we're talking about Hogwarts.
Lastly, I want to shout out, well, not shout out, but I want to comment on The Last of Us HBO show. So episode 5 came out on Friday. So they're more than halfway through the season now. So we know that season 1 of this show is all of The Last of Us 1, the game. And we know that season 2 is going to start into The Last of Us 2, the game. I was really big on this adaptation, and I still am to a degree. I thought there were a couple missteps in this last episode, but what it occurred to me, I was watching this with my mom and my wife, who don't know anything about the show, obviously, other than what I've told them, the game, I mean, other than what I've told them. And it kind of made me laugh after episode 5, because what is occurring to me now, guys, is we start to get more of these adaptations. And I know we've all talked about bad video game adaptations for a while now, but as we get more of these that are highly reviewed and seem to be better than what we've gotten in the past to some degree, what I'm starting to really find funny now is I'm going to become that guy, like the book people, where it's going to be like, yeah, the show was good. It's not as good as the game. And I feel like we're going to see that more and more as we get more of these gaming adaptations. We know Horizon's coming. We know God of War is coming. We know Gears of War is coming. We know all these different kind of big IPs in the gaming community or gaming industry are coming to shows or movies. And I feel like we gamers here are going to become the new generation of the book people saying, yeah, it was good. It's just not as good as the game.
I don't think you can. I'm probably going to be in that boat as well. I haven't seen it yet, but the problem is, I mean, there's just such a different medium, and there's so much more interactivity when you are holding that controller and controlling those characters than just watching them do exactly what you just did. Even though The Last of Us is, very, very story driven and a lot of meandering around, and I love the game. Don't get me wrong. It just, it really kind of screams, limited HBO Max series. So, it's actually probably one of the most perfect adaptations that you could probably, I mean, in a sense that, it's kind of meant for that medium more so than something like, Assassin's Creed or Halo or something, so.
Let's not talk about Halo, please. I'm having a good time today. I'm smiling. You know what I mean?
There we go.
That's all. I'll just mention it.
Yeah. I mean, Halo's still better than Fast, but generally speaking.
Ains, I get that being a fan of 343 this long means that you no longer know what a studio being run well looks like. But Fast and Furious,
oof.
Fast and Furious, they're doing pretty well. 7th largest franchise in the world.
I can't even argue with that. I'm on Travis's on that one.
I can't. Yeah, they're I can't argue with the financials. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't think as I watch this, like I just like all I'm starting to find myself saying now is, I'm enjoying this, and I think that Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey and the cast are doing a great job, and there's a lot of positives I can throw towards it, but it just not the same. I don't know. It doesn't kind of capture the entire thing for me. And I'm worried there's only 4 episodes left that they have to capture the rest of the game. And I'm kind of concerned that they're not going to really encapsulate at least what I would expect to get from the game.
I have been kind of keeping abreast on like what the episodes are, just, because I'm not really super worried about spoilers too much. But to your point, from what I've seen on this last one, they've got a long way to go. There's
a lot to go, and I'm like, how do you do that in 4 episodes? I don't know. Christy McReynolds with a $2 super chat says she got HBO Max just to watch the show, which from the numbers around Last of Us seems to be, you're not alone, right? It seems to be incredibly popular, one of the most popular shows HBO has had, so that's great. I love to see that. So I'd be curious, Christy, what you're thinking of the show then, and I'm assuming, you don't have to keep super chatting, but I'm kind of curious. Do you know the game, or did you buy it just to watch the show because you heard about it? And if so, what do you think of the show? I'd be curious to know. Just put it in comments. I'll find it. You don't have to super chat. And then Tao with the $5 super chat. Sorry, Dan, I'm just reading these. He said, I am definitely the person with comics and adaptations. See Civil War movie versus the comics, Gotham Knights versus Court of Owls, and City of Owls. So I haven't played Gotham Knights, Travis. You may be able to speak to this, but from what the comic people I know told me, the Court of Owls story in the Batman kind of universe was one of the best stories that they told, and that Gotham Knights really didn't do it justice.
It's not an adaptation. That's the problem with that parallel. Is that it has completely, Batman isn't dead for all of the Court of Owls and like all the stuff that they do. So Gotham Knights was basically just taking the bones of the idea of the Court of Owls and telling it in a new story. So not an adaptation, but yeah, Court of Owls and City of Owls are awesome. Civil War is an adaptation, and the comic book is much better. But
I agree with.
Gotcha.
They also the movie. I mean, it was a movie, not a show. I feel like Civil War almost would have been better as a show, just because it's a very complicated issue, and it's supposed to last over a long period of time, and they had to fit that into a 2-hour movie. So I don't think it was ever going to match the depth of Civil War, where not only did Civil War have the time to tell its story, but then afterward they published all of the different perspectives, that comics from each character to show what they were doing during Civil War. And you can't do that in a 2.5-hour movie. It's just not possible.
Yeah, gotcha. My
You're
camera froze again. Yeah, no, I've got a USB thing issue with my computer right now. It sucks. I've got actually a new computer being built as we speak, so hopefully that issue will go away soon. I want to shout out real quick, Secret McSquirrel in the chat, who one of our mods here. He helps out with Hogue. He helps out with a lot of the kind of LawTube group. Came over to us from Hogue and has been facing some health issues himself. So big shout out to him. Hopefully he's on the mend, and just want to say thank you for all he does for the community. So what's up, Squirrel? Christy says, my kids and I used to watch my brother and my son playing the game. The cutscenes were great. I'm enjoying the show, and it feels true to the game for the most part. Fair enough. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what Travis is referring to. And many of us say with the best parts of The Last of Us, as we've said many times here, are the characters and the cinematic elements. When you talk about actual gameplay, it's certainly nothing revolutionary. But that's why I think I think we're going to say the same thing like Dan was just saying, is that's why the transition to the show seems more natural than something like a Halo, where, good Lord, you're trying to tackle a lot.
Well, the unfortunate thing about Halo is that it does have a good story. I wouldn't have told the story in the games, but it's got books, so and half of those books are really damn good.
Yeah.
So you could have told a better story than you did. I don't think they have an excuse on that one. But
sure.
Part of my qualm with The Last of Us, the reason I don't think it's the best game of all time, which a lot of people espouse, is because to me it parrots what Hollywood is about, and I think I see video games as being bigger and better than anything that the movie medium could produce. And so it makes 100% sense why this is an HBO show, because it basically, if I was trying to get my video game turned into an HBO show, I would make something like The Last of Us, you know what I mean, and make that a video game. But I don't know if that's not the direction I want games to go in. I don't want every game to be like thinking about the movie adaptation or show adaptation that's going to come out of them and design their game around it, which is what The Last of Us sometimes feels like.
Especially part 2.
You could tell that they were talking about that movie deal, the show deal, when that movie was coming up. But yeah, it sort of bothers me a little bit. But that said, look, it's a good game. Their success is well earned. I'm glad the show's good. I'm gonna watch it eventually, but I just haven't had time working on stuff. But yeah, glad people are liking it.
Yeah, it seems to be good. I think with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap us up. Remember to keep kind of Hogue in your thoughts. We keep shouting him out. We still talk to him pretty regularly, starting to communicate with us more and more, which is awesome. Continues to be on the mend. Obviously, he's still got a long way to go, but as we've said many times, it's better news by far than it could have been. And it's great to see him and the family kind of getting along. So give him a shout out when you can. Chad, you've been awesome today, as always. Anyone listening, we had some fun diversions today. We knew it was going to be a rather slow week in kind of gaming news, but we had a good time regardless. So thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Of course, Pampa comes in, closes us out with and it's actually kind of a perfect, oh sorry, I'm clicking the wrong button here. Where'd I go? It's actually a perfect kind of segue to close us out as we talk to our community here, which is here at Season Gaming Bitcast. We don't have friends, we have family. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
But you know, the way you said that was, 100 times better than it was actually said in the movie.
Well,
I could understand what you were saying.
Yeah.
No. I don't get it. I can't do that.
I don't know how to act, so let me just grumble my voice.
How dare you?
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate the super chat.
He was in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. Did a really good job, that's what he did.
That was all right, coming up this week, Season Game, we got other game reviews coming up. Plowed through our review of Metroid Prime Remastered should be going up tomorrow. Actually, you listen to this on Monday. That's our reviewers done with that one. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to be talking more about Hogwarts. We have other stuff up. The video of this, the latest Halo statue. I seriously think I just did the video on this, and there's another statue arriving today as we speak. Those are going up if you care about gaming collectibles. Cast Co-op will be back this week. And as I said, I'll be on the PSN Party podcast later this week to talk about PlayStation because, guys, we are 10 days away from PSVR 2. So I've already got codes for games for PSVR 2.
Do you have your hardware yet?
No, we're not special like that. If we were in the UK or we were in Canada, I would already have it. The US PlayStation relationship is an entirely different conversation. It's just how it is. So, but anyway, I do have codes for games already. Several PR reps have reached out to me, so I'm going to be doing a lot of coverage of PSVR 2's launch, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about it. I did watch a couple of the content creators I like covering it, and it seems great. A lot of positivity coming up on that launch from the content they've made. So kind of pumped about that. But anyway, Travis, what you got going on, man?
I've got lots going on, homie. First, I've got a big announcement, which is that tomorrow morning, I hope tomorrow morning, my first editorial piece is going to go live on IGN.com. It is a very long piece I've been working on for a while, and I finally got my editor to chop it in about half of the words. So it is a piece about the games as a service, live service.
Nice.
Perfect.
So
good.
I've been talking about that for a while. I've been wanting to post something about it. I pitched it to the editorial team, and they're going to publish it next week. So you've probably heard me say a lot of the stuff on this show before, but I wrote it down into more concise and I think well-argued thing. And it was sort of as a response to some other outlets putting out stuff that was talking about live service failing, which I think is silly. So there you go. You can read about that. And then also, I have the distinct honor of producing IGN First coverage for March. So I'm going to can't talk about what the game is or what I'm doing, but I'm going to be flying out and spending a week with the developers of a certain game, and I'm going to be creating a month-long coverage of content around that game and posting it all March. So if you read IGN and you go see our IGN First game, which if you don't know what IGN First is, it's basically a digital cover story on the site. All of the content that we're producing around that game is going to be from me. I'm doing interviews and trailers and some other articles and preview pieces. So it's going to be super cool. This is my first time ever doing that and producing it by myself. So it's a huge honor. And I hope you guys like the game. It's one that I am very excited about. So
can we guess?
We know what the game is. It's Ryan McCaffrey already announced the game for March.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Yeah. You say it then, because I haven't seen it.
Okay, yeah. In case, so he announced Jedi Survivor.
No, so that's this month.
Oh, sorry, I've
Yeah.
got my months mixed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jedi Survivor is February, and actually all that coverage was done by McCaffrey himself, my boss.
Cool.
So he went and covered all of that stuff, and then I'm gonna do the March one, which hasn't been announced yet. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk offline.
Yeah.
Yakuza 9 or whatever they're on. By the way, Season Gaming in the chat said, Travis, that they rated a 7. So not bad.
Rate what a 7?
Your coverage.
Whatever you're working on. Yeah.
You
Your
haven't
live
seen it
service
yet.
article.
I haven't made it yet. Oh, the live service.
He's like, wait, I haven't even made it.
I feel like I'm being prejudged here for some reason.
No, that's fantastic, dude. Seriously, congrats. That's a big deal, and obviously it goes without saying. IGN's kind of I mean, they're a decent sized site. They get some coverage, so you know, it's actually really cool to know that you know, like your Hogwarts review, we joked about how many hits that got, but you know, your coverage and stuff is going to be seen by millions of people. That's awesome.
Yep, that's the goal.
That's good stuff.
Lots of people see my stuff and nobody knowing who I am. That is my zone.
Love it. It's the best, man. It's gonna be the
best. It really is. Maximum impact with the least impact to my personal life. It's great.
Perfect.
You're not lying. That's awesome. All right, guys. Oh, by the way, thank you. I forgot to mention it because we were just talking about that in DM this morning. Sorry, Double Fine and 2 Player Productions. If you didn't see this, they released a 34, 32, no, 34. What? 34 episodes. Yeah,
it's even longer.
34 episode documentary, Dan, like you like, on the development and production of Psychonauts 2.
How long are those episodes?
Like 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but still, do the math. That's a lot of time. Yeah.
I was expecting them to be 5 minutes when they said it was 34 episodes.
Yeah, it's I haven't started yet, but I'm super excited. And I was like a Kickstarter backer. Remember years ago when they were they did that huge Kickstarter campaign, Double Fine did. I got a documentary as part of being one of like their premier backers or whatever. And they're cool, man. It's such a cool studio. Tim Schafer's really cool. 2 Player Productions is fantastic at production. So I'm super excited to jump in this. So definitely don't miss it. From what AO told me, it contains stuff not only about development, but when they got acquired by Xbox and how that changed the development of the game and drama and everything else that goes with it. So
awesome. I'm down, man. I don't even like Psychonauts necessarily, but I love
you. How dare you?
Have you even played it?
I'm just saying.
Dare you?
Yeah, I played like about an hour, and then I was just like, nah, this is.
You just don't like platformers?
I'm not a big platformer guy, but I can understand the appeal, though.
So
I can totally see the appeal because I do. What I did like was like the art style. I think it was really cool. But I'm also a huge fan of these documentaries, so maybe this will turn me around. And
I hope so.
So
because between Fast and Furious talk and you crapping on Psychonauts 2, I'm damn near putting in my resignation letter. I can't do this anymore. I'm done with it. I'm done.
I'm out.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. It's been a fun show, guys. Everyone hanging out with us, like I said, thank you so much for chilling with us. Thank you for the support, as always. Anyone tuning in later, we had a huge week last week in terms of numbers for Bitcast. And, you know, I don't know what we hit today with live viewers, but quite a few. And it's just great to continue to see new faces and people jumping in. So thank you so much. Just appreciate it. That's all I can say. For now, we're going to get out of here. Let's go ahead and say go Chiefs on our way out. And, you know, hopefully there's a good ball game that Travis will be hugely invested in later today. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go get some good barbecue today, I think, Dan. And yeah, we'll do that later. But peace, everyone. Have a good week. We will see you next Sunday. Till then.
Go Chiefs!